Next, Purge Bad Files. I always think about this. Did you know I was a truck driver in the good old days? I got done, you know, high school was interesting to me, but, I got all done in 3 years. The 4-year high school I went to. I used to go after school. I'd go early. I worked summer school. So I got done with high school in 3 years. And I said, what do you do now? They said, oh, you just get a job. You have to stay for the 4th year, but you can go get a job. So I didn't even go my last year. I'd already finished high school and won my scholarship and did everything. And I started working. And they had all these jobs, and I decided to be a truck driver just to try it out. So I worked for a battery company, and I used to take my truck. It was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wheeler. It wasn't a 13-wheeler. It wasn't a semi. It was just those big, heavy ones, especially the ones that have the extra wheels that go down when they really load it, and tandem. And so I would take my truck, my little clipboard. We used to have paper stuff, and I would back my truck up, put on the air brakes, jump out, and get my clipboard, and I would slide it across. And I remember my very first day delivering at the loading dock, and I delivered it across, and I looked up, and I went. Now remember, I was raised in a good Christian home, went to church 3 times a week. Behind the receiving clerk desk was the centerfold, not just one, all of them. This guy was an addict to some pornography magazine, and he had taped behind him all the centerfolds. The centerfold is a bunch of pages of an immoral magazine where if you unfold it, it's almost life-size, and he had glued them up. And it was the first time, I was 19 years old, it was the first time in my whole life I ever saw a woman with no clothes on, ever. It was shocking, and I wish it was even faster, but I saw it and I looked away, but the problem is, if my cell phone has a 14 teraflop camera, my head has a even better one. It was recorded, what I saw. And I remember that image stayed with me for too long until I was at Bible college. Remember, that was my senior year. Then I went to Bible college. And I was memorizing the book of Hebrews, all 303 verses. And I was pacing in my dorm room, memorizing Hebrews out loud. How much more shall the blood of Christ, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot, purge your... I opened my eyes. What was that verse saying? How much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? I was in Bible college, and I was constantly haunted. By the way, I fled from the desk where the pinups were, and I went to the restroom, because you use the restroom at the loading dock because you were driving between all your accounts. When I got to the restroom, guess what was in the restroom? It was worse than the loading dock. It was stacks, the guy's entire life's collection of every type of pornographic magazine. He had them all. This guy was a real immoral type. It was horrible. I felt like I was in the Roman world, surrounded. Did you know what I learned? God can purge the bad files. Did you know that there is no memory you have of anything you did that was wrong, or anything you saw that was wrong, or anything you heard that was wrong, that offends God? There is not one thing that God, through the eternal Spirit who offered himself without spot to God, can't purge. The Lord can actually go into your mind, open the files, and clean that out. The problem is we don't want him to, because some of these are very dear to us. Events and things and stuff that we've done or said or heard or seen. But God offers complete removal. That's not all. Healthy believers don't just purge the bad files, they reclaim boldness. A little bit later, I was, pacing along. I had already been overwhelmed by that verse as I was memorizing Hebrews. Now I got to Hebrews 10:22, and it says, "Let us draw near in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water." And I went, what? Let us draw near to God in full assurance of faith? Every time I read the New Testament, I read about people that were bold for the Lord. And I, at times, wasn't bold. We reclaim boldness by drawing near to God because he's cleansed our heart, because we've been honest with him and let him clean us out. as often as we need it. It's not like once and every bad thing is gone, but it's once I decide I don't want the bad things, and he keeps cleansing them away. But we can have full assurance of faith that our hearts have been sprinkled. 9:14 talks about that, from that evil conscience, and our bodies are washed with pure water. What's the pure water? The washing by the word. The scriptures talk about it. Your body's washed with the pure water of the word of God. We constantly are being cleansed. And all of this means that healthy believers are constantly renewing their consecration. Romans 6 talks all about it. It talks about all those imperatives that we're not supposed to present our members anymore. And then Paul concludes it in Romans 12 saying, I beg you, believers, because of all God did for you, present your body as a living sacrifice. What does that mean? Every day I'm going to live like I died with Christ. Every day I'm going to live like I'm on the altar. I want to be holy. I want to be acceptable, pleasing to you. It's your, and it's, this is an interesting word, your reasonable service. The word there is liturgos. It's the idea of a worship sacrifice. I'm offering this like a sacrifice of worship. And I don't want to be conformed to the world. I want you to transform my mind. Wow.